Heartfelt, gently emotional, open with a quiet moment. Have you ever sat alone, staring at your phone, praying for something to finally happen, and then nothing changes? Acknowledge the silence that follows deep prayers. Speak to those who feel ignored by God. You whispered in the dark. You cried into your pillow. But no doors opened, no message came. And now you're wondering, why is God making me wait? Validate the pain of waiting. Waiting for healing after heartbreak. Waiting for a job, a spouse, a baby, peace of mind. Feeling like God has forgotten you. Transition to hope. But what if your waiting is love in disguise? Invite viewers into the message. In this video, I want to share with you 7 beautiful reasons why God might be delaying your prayer. Not to hurt you, but to shape you, protect you, and love you in ways you haven't even imagined. Reflective, personal, understanding. Speak about life's emotional roller coasters. Rejection, loneliness, uncertainty, feeling abandoned by people and even distant from God. Acknowledge the struggle of seeing others move ahead while you're still stuck. Shift the focus to spiritual truths. In every story of the prophets, there was a long, painful wait before the breakthrough came. Introduce the core theme. Waiting is not punishment. It's preparation. Start unfolding the 7 beautiful reasons lightly here. Let the viewer know you'll go deep into them soon. Emphasize key qualities developed in waiting. Patience, trust in God, surrender, deep inner healing. Storytelling, comforting, grounded. Reflect on examples from the Prophet's life without naming or using Arabic. Years of loneliness, rejection, exile, delayed victories, unanswered prayers, tie in the emotional landscape. Imagine being chosen by God and still being made to wait over a decade for relief. Now connect that to the modern viewer. You applied for jobs for months, but silence. You've prayed for a spouse, but keep being disappointed. You beg for healing, but the pain lingers. Emphasize, God is not deaf to your pain. He is preparing your blessing to arrive in the right way, at the right time, in the right version of you. Share a short modern story or testimony. For example, a sister who waited 5 years for a baby and found peace along the way, affirmed the unseen wisdom. God delays what you want to give you what you truly need. Reassuring, nurturing, empowering. Offer faith-based tools for coping with waiting. 1, prayer and dua. You're not talking into a void. You're not talking into a void. Your tears are seen. Your voice is heard. Talk to God as you are, not how you think you should be. 2, remembrance of God without Arabic terms. Simple daily phrases of praise and hope. Anchoring your heart in peace through repetition. Sometimes saying God is with me over and over is how you survive the storm. 3, gratitude in the dark. Training the heart to notice the blessings even while waiting for the big one. This doesn't cancel the pain, it coexists with it. 4, charity and helping others. Healing yourself by becoming the answer to someone else's prayer. The spiritual law, what you give often comes back multiplied. 5, journaling with God. Writing down your du'as, worries, gratitude helps clarify pain and receive peace. The page listens when no one else does. Include 1, 2 real-life examples of people who transformed while waiting. Reassure, sometimes God changes you before He changes your situation. Real, relatable, gentle. Address today's struggles openly. Toxic relationships, waiting for love, but God might be protecting you from the wrong person. Joblessness, you feel behind, but maybe you're being saved from a path that would have hurt you. Family pressure, you feel unseen, but maybe this time is shaping your strength. Mental health battles, waiting for clarity, peace, normalcy. Offer soft spiritual solutions. Don't isolate. Surround yourself with people who remind you of God. Find healing in helping others. Remember the seasons of life, even the longest winter ends. Gently challenge harmful self-talk. You are not forgotten. You are not punished. You are being sculpted. Share simple prayers to whisper when it gets hard. God, give me what's best for me, even if I don't know what that is. Make me ready for the blessings I've been waiting for. Warm, sincere, hopeful, reassure. One final time, delays are not denials. They're invitations to draw nearer to the one who never lets go. Wrap the 7 reasons into one reminder. God delays for your protection, for your growth, for the right timing, to mature your soul, to draw you closer, to test your patience, to write a better story than you imagined. End with a peaceful promise. What's written for you will never miss you, and what missed you was never yours. Encourage holding on to faith. Your job is not to figure it all out. Your job is to keep showing up in trust, in prayer, and in hope. Invite the viewer to breathe deeply, let go, and say, God, I trust you, even in the waiting. Script starting. Have you ever sat alone just staring at your phone, waiting for something, anything to change? Maybe you just finished praying with tears in your eyes. Maybe you made dua with all your heart. You said the same words again and again, hoping this time would be the breakthrough. This time the phone would ring, the news would come, the weight would lift, but nothing changed. And now it's been weeks, or maybe months, maybe even years, and you're starting to wonder, why? Why is God making me wait? You whispered in the dark. You cried into your pillow. You tried to be strong. You tried to be patient. But deep down there's this ache, a question that keeps coming back. Has God forgotten me? Waiting can be one of the heaviest things a heart can carry. Waiting for healing after heartbreak. Waiting to find a job that finally gives you peace. Waiting to be seen by the right person for marriage. Waiting for the baby you've prayed for every night. Waiting to feel like yourself again. Sometimes it feels like everyone else is moving forward, and you're still stuck in the same place, watching time go by, watching your dreams gather dust, smiling on the outside, but silently breaking on the inside. If that's you, I want you to know something. You're not alone. God has not forgotten you. God is not ignoring your pain, and your delay is not a punishment. What if the waiting isn't what it seems? What if this silence is actually mercy? What if your waiting is love in disguise? Sometimes the most beautiful things in life are hidden behind divine timing. Not because you're not good enough, not because you're not praying hard enough, but because God in His mercy is protecting you, preparing you, strengthening you in ways you can't yet see. There's a verse in the Quran that says, you may hate something while it is good for you, and you may love something while it is bad for you. God knows and you do not know. Let that sink in. You may be holding on to something so tightly, thinking it's the key to your happiness. But what if God is gently delaying it because it would have hurt you right now? What if the job you didn't get would have drained your soul? What if the person you lost would have led you away from peace? What if the yes you're begging for is actually a mercy in the form of a no for now? The waiting season is never wasted. God is never late. He is never unaware. Every tear you've cried has been seen. Every prayer you've whispered has been heard. Every sleepless night is written with care, and none of it is lost. In this video, I want to share with you 7 beautiful reasons why God might be delaying your prayer. Not to harm you, not to punish you, but to heal you, to protect your heart from what it's not ready for, to shape your soul into someone stronger, wiser, and closer to Him. Because the truth is, sometimes the wait is the answer. Maybe the blessing you're waiting for is still becoming the blessing it needs to be. Or maybe you are still becoming the person who can carry it well. And yes, it's hard. Yes, it hurts, but you're not being punished. You're being purified. There is a wisdom in the delay that you might not understand right now, but one day you will look back and say, now I see why it had to take that long. So for now, take a deep breath. You don't have to have all the answers. You don't have to pretend it's easy. Just know this, even in the silence, God is with you. And this waiting, this very moment you're in, it's part of your story. A story still being written by the one who loves you more than you can imagine. Stay with me. Let's walk through this together. Let's look at the beauty behind the delay. Because maybe, just maybe, the waiting is leading you to something far more beautiful than what you asked for. Something made just for you. And it's coming. When the time is right, God hasn't forgotten you. He's preparing something better. And in the meantime, He's holding your heart. Let's talk about the pain of unanswered prayers. Maybe you've been holding on to hope for so long that it's starting to wear thin. You tell yourself to be patient, but your heart is tired. You've done everything you can. You've prayed, you've cried, but you've stayed up in the quiet hours of the night, asking God for just one sign, one small opening, but still nothing. And slowly you start to wonder, is something wrong with me? Have I done something to deserve this? Why is everyone else moving forward while I feel stuck in place? I want you to know this. These feelings are real, and you are not weak for feeling them. You are human, and God understands that. You see, we live in a world where everything is instant. Messages are delivered in seconds. Meals arrive in minutes. Everything is fast and on demand. But the soul doesn't work like that. Growth doesn't work like that. And neither does divine wisdom. God sees what we cannot. He hears the prayers we don't even say out loud. And sometimes His greatest mercy is in withholding something we think we need, because He knows what would happen if we got it too soon, or at the wrong time, or in the wrong way. You may be waiting for a job, a spouse, a child, or simply a feeling of peace. And it may feel like everyone else's prayers are being answered while yours remain on hold. But I want to gently remind you, waiting is not the absence of love. Sometimes it's the clearest form of it. Think about the stories we've grown up hearing. Every person chosen by God faced a long, difficult season of waiting. Waiting for relief, waiting for justice, waiting for healing. They were tested with heartbreak, fear, rejection, even despair. And yet they were not abandoned. There's a reason those stories are told again and again. Not because they had it easy, but because their waiting became the soil for something extraordinary. It was the waiting became the soil for something extraordinary. It was in the delay that they found strength. It was in the silence that they discovered trust. It was in the struggle that they were drawn closest to God. One of the most comforting verses in the Quran says, "Indeed, with hardship comes ease, not after hardship. With it," meaning the ease is already there, is just hidden in the middle of the test. Maybe the ease is in the way your faith has deepened. Maybe it's in how your heart has softened. Or maybe the ease is still on its way, waiting for the perfect moment to unfold. In the next part of this video, I'll walk you through 7 powerful reasons why God might be keeping you in this season of waiting. These aren't punishments, they're signs of care. Each reason is a doorway to healing, a reminder that even in your stillness you are being guided. But before we go there, I want to ask you something. What if your delay isn't about the thing you're waiting for? What if it's about the person you're becoming while you wait? Because sometimes what you become during the wait is more important than what you get after it. You're not forgotten, you're not invisible, and you're not alone in this. This delay, this pause, it's not empty time. It's a sacred space where your soul is being prepared, your heart is being strengthened, and your connection to God is being deepened. So stay with me. Let's go deeper into the wisdom behind your waiting. You might be surprised at what's been happening behind the scenes of your unanswered prayers. Let's bring this closer to home. Sometimes it's easy to read about the lives of the prophets and think, that was then, this is now. But the truth is, the emotional struggles they went through, rejection, uncertainty, heartbreak, fear, those are the same emotions we feel today. The difference is, they knew who to turn to, and their waiting had purpose, just like yours does. Think about this. There was a time when the most loved human being, the most spiritually elevated soul, walked the earth and still had to wait for answers. He went through loss. He lost the people closest to him. He was betrayed by those who once stood beside him. He faced long years of being misunderstood, mocked, rejected, even by his own community. He was forced to leave his home. He stood in prayer for hours in the night, tears streaming down his face, asking for guidance, for clarity, for peace. If the most beloved soul to God had to endure seasons of silence, how could our own waiting mean that we are abandoned? Sometimes we think that just because we're doing everything right, we're praying, we're being patient, we're staying away from what's wrong, that things should immediately fall into place. But life doesn't always work like that. And faith is not a transaction, it's a relationship, a deep living connection that's tested and shaped through struggle. Maybe you're going through your own version of exile. Maybe your heart has been left in pieces by someone you trusted. Maybe you feel stuck in a job that drains you, or in a family situation where no one really sees how much you're struggling. Maybe you're carrying anxiety, trauma, or depression that you don't even talk about anymore because you feel like people just wouldn't understand. I want you to know, God understands. He sees the nights when you cry yourself to sleep. He knows the things you don't post about, the ache behind your smile, the silent prayers you've whispered 100 times. You are not too broken, you are not being ignored, and you are not falling behind. You're just in a different chapter of your story. It's okay if you're still healing. It's okay if you don't have all the answers. And it's okay if you're still in the middle of your storm. Because God is not just the one who delivers you after the pain. He is the one who walks with you through it. Remember the verse, God does not burden a soul with more than it can bear. If you are still standing, still breathing, even if it's messy, even if it's hard, then that means God still sees something strong in you, something worth refining. Sometimes the delay is a mercy. Sometimes the silence is protection. And sometimes the very thing you think is holding you back is actually what's holding you together. Think of it this way. What if your delay in marriage is actually saving you from a relationship that would have crushed your spirit? What if the job that keeps slipping through your fingers is because God is preserving your peace, not depriving your success? What if the pain you're carrying right now is the exact thing that's bringing you closer to Him than comfort ever could? We often ask, why me? But maybe a better question is, what now? What is God teaching me in this moment? What is this pain carving into my soul? And how can I grow through what I'm going through? That's not easy, I know. But growth rarely happens in ease. Growth happens in waiting, in aching, in surrender. And I promise you this, the strength, the clarity, the wisdom you gain in these seasons, you will carry them for life. And one day, when the door opens and the prayer is finally answered and the peace finally arrives, you will look back and understand exactly why it had to happen this way. You'll see how every delay was a thread in a bigger, beautiful design that only God could weave. So if today you feel lost in the silence, if you're tired of waiting, if you're wondering whether it's all worth it, let me remind you, the waiting isn't a pause in your life, it is your life right now. And even this part has purpose. Even this part is sacred. Stay with me. In the next section, we're going to explore some powerful, faith-based ways to heal while you wait. Because this journey you're on, it doesn't have to break you. It can build you, one quiet prayer at a time. Let's talk about how to actually live through the waiting. How to survive the silence without falling apart. Because I know it's one thing to hear that waiting has purpose. It's another thing entirely to wake up every morning with an unanswered prayer and still try to keep your heart soft. So how do we heal while we wait? How do we hold on when we feel like giving up? Let me share some tools, not just ideas, but real, faith-rooted ways to nurture your soul during this difficult season. 1. Talk to God like you would talk to your closest friend. This is not about perfect words. You don't have to memorize long prayers. Just speak from your heart. Sometimes we think we need to approach God only when we have the right phrases or when we're feeling spiritually strong. But God wants to hear you even when your voice shakes. Especially then, you can say, God, I'm tired. I don't understand, but I trust you. Help me. That's enough. That's beautiful. The most powerful dua is often the most honest one. Let your prayers be raw and real. Let your heart speak without filters. He already knows what you're feeling. You're just letting him hold it with you. 2. Remember God in the little moments when you're walking, driving, washing dishes, folding laundry. You can gently repeat words of hope and comfort, simple phrases, quiet remembrance, things like God is with me, or God knows, or this will pass. You don't need fancy words, just repetition. Let these reminders become the rhythm that steadies you throughout your day. Because when your heart is full of God's presence, the world can't shake you the same way. 3. Write it down. Journal your du'as. There's something incredibly healing about taking what's in your heart and putting it on paper. Write your prayers. Write your fears. Write your questions. Let your journal become a safe space between you and God. And here's the beauty. Months later, you might flip back through those pages and see that the things you cried for actually came. Or you'll see how you were changed, even if the answer wasn't what you expected. Sometimes the greatest answer is the strength that grew in your soul. 4. Thank God, even in the waiting. This one might feel hard. How can you say thank you when your heart is breaking? But there's something powerful that happens when you choose gratitude even while you're hurting. You can say, God, I don't understand why this is happening, but thank you for waking me up today. Thank you for the small things. Thank you for being with me in the dark. Gratitude isn't about pretending you're not struggling. It's about remembering that even in pain, there is still goodness. It softens the heart. It opens the door for peace to enter. 5. Give, even when you feel empty. One of the most healing things you can do while you're waiting is to serve someone else. Give a kind word, a small donation, a smile, a message of support. Because when you help others in their darkness, you bring light to your own. There's a secret blessing in giving. Sometimes God fills your emptiness through the very act of you pouring into someone else. You don't have to be whole to help. You just have to be willing. 6. Surround yourself with people who remind you of God, not just with their words, but with their presence. Sometimes we isolate ourselves when we're hurting. We convince ourselves that no one will understand, or that it's easier to be alone. But healing often happens through connection. Find people who bring calm, not noise. People who listen without rushing to fix. People who remind you just by being near that your pain doesn't make you less worthy of love. And if you don't have those people yet, ask God to send them. Make it part of your dua. 7. Let go of the timeline in your head. Maybe the hardest part of waiting is the story we tell ourselves about how life should be by now. I should be married. I should have children. I should have a stable career. I should feel better. Not God. Sometimes the most freeing thing you can do is surrender your calendar and say, God, I trust your timing more than my own expectations. This isn't giving up, it's giving over. It's placing your life back in the hands of the one who sees every detail, past, present, and future, and who has never once made a mistake. You are not forgotten in your waiting. You are being carried, held, refined, and slowly, quietly, beautifully. You are being rebuilt from the inside out. There is purpose in your pain. There is growth in your pause. And there is healing even now, even here. Stay with me. In the next part, we're going to talk about real life challenges. Many of us face heartbreak, mental health, job struggles, and how to apply these spiritual tools in those moments when life feels too heavy to hold. Because you're not just meant to survive this. You're meant to come out of it more grounded, more compassionate, and more connected to the one who's been with you all along. Now let's bring all of this into the everyday moments. Because maybe you're not waiting for something big. Maybe you're just trying to get through the day. Let's talk about what it feels like to live through these challenges, not just spiritually, but emotionally and practically. Maybe you're in a relationship that's draining you. You care so deeply for someone, but you're constantly being let down. You keep hoping they'll change. You keep praying they'll see your worth. But deep down, you know this love is hurting you more than it's healing you. You've made dua. You've asked God for guidance. And now nothing is happening. They haven't changed. Things haven't improved. You're stuck in this limbo, waiting for a sign. Here's the truth. No one tells you. Sometimes the silence is the sign. Sometimes God doesn't remove the person immediately because He's giving you time to strengthen your boundaries, to learn your worth, to trust His way of releasing what you keep holding on to. If you're in something toxic, waiting for it to become healthy, maybe God is asking you to stop begging for something small and start trusting Him for something better. That doesn't mean you're not allowed to grieve. It means there's something bigger than closure. There's clarity, and clarity often comes through pain. Or maybe your struggle is different. Maybe you're dealing with joblessness. You've sent out resume after resume. You've been rejected so many times that you've started to question your own value. You wonder if you're behind in life. You scroll through social media and see everyone winning, and you feel like a failure, but you are not behind. God doesn't operate on the same timeline as the world. The fact that your path looks different doesn't mean it's wrong. It might mean it's right for you. Sometimes the job you're praying for isn't being delayed. It's being rerouted. Maybe there's a path coming your way that you never even considered. One that aligns more with your purpose, your peace, your values. But in the meantime, you're being trained. Even when you feel like nothing is happening, something is happening inside.